This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Es más que complacer a un cliente. Es un punto de venta conectado al Internet con fibra óptica de Spectrum Business, que registra todas sus transacciones de forma segura. Y es respaldado con servicio al cliente, las 24 horas del día, 7 días a la semana. Localizado en los Estados Unidos y técnicos locales. Es todo lo que importa. Obtén Business Internet Advantage gratis, para siempre, cuando te cambies a Spectrum y obtienes 4 líneas mobile. Visita spectrum.com/free for life para más información. Se aplican restricciones. Servicio no disponible en todas las áreas.
Now tuned into the greatest.
So when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music. Get control of your life, don't let nobody else do it. Cause I'm not gonna have met your Ep.518 cruising. Feel like you winning on the ground.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. All the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like or you dislike, hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code TheRunPodcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but NBA season is rolling strong right now. My Pistons are going crazy, and I can promise you, I will go see them at least once this season. So create that account, use that promo code, save yourself $20 when you go to that game or concert or whatever it is you want to attend. Now, something I will not be in attendance for is this Falcons versus Carolina Panthers game. And oh my gosh, so this is the rematch, a division matchup. We got a lot of division games happening so far in this week 11 of the NFL. Man, it's pretty crazy that we're already that far in the NFL. But yeah, week 11 in the NFL, past the midseason point. And it's like a playoff do or die at this point. Right now, Falcons aren't looking like they're going to be much of a playoff team. They play the Panthers. They're going into this game at home, 3-6, actually, 3-6. Panthers are going to Atlanta 5-5. Panthers have the advantage because they already smacked the Falcons in Carolina. They beat them 30-0. And the one thing I'm really hoping for is that we just don't see another snooze fest like we did that first time for us Atlanta Falcons fans. I mean, 30-0 was crazy. And the craziest part about this game is, like, I know a lot of Panthers fans, they want to flaunt about it. Like, yeah, a lot of Panthers fans, they're flaunting about the win 30-0, which they should, because in retrospect, I would do the same thing if it was the other way around. However, it's crazy because no one should expect that to be the case coming into this rematch in this division game, because Falcons had more passing yards, they had more rushing yards, they had more first down conversions. They had just about more everything when you compare of the offensive end and what they do besides red zone attempts. And ultimately, that's what led to the Falcons losing 30-0 to the Panthers. So, it was weird. It was weird. Also, the defensive pass rush was also kind of crazy, too. So it was a weird game. I'm just hoping that's not the case. But the thing that's promising, too, is truthfully, can I talk to some Falcons fans just for a second? Like, real talk, seriously. I just want to talk to a couple Falcons fans. I genuinely, I hope we win every game up to this point. But I will say, now I'm kind of scaling back because I'm hoping for change. So at this point, I was hoping for the Falcons to win, but part of me is honestly hoping the Falcons lose this game against the Panthers because I would love to see some sort of change happen within the coaching staff, whether it's Raheem Morris getting fired or our offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, getting fired. At this point, I think that's the only way the Falcons would make that move. And hear me out. In the past, it has worked for us that losing to the Panthers has somehow been the trigger that get coaches fired. Now, listen to this. Not saying it's going to happen, but the stats from the other coaches, they all got fired after the Panthers. You go back to Mike Smith. His last game was a home loss to the Carolina Panthers. You go to Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, his last game was a home loss to the Carolina Panthers. Now, I know it was some different coaches in between all of them and Raheem Morris, but since Raheem Morris has already been in a hot seat, it's a possibility that if he loses to the Panthers, it could be his last and final game with the Atlanta Falcons. Personally, I would love for that to be the case. But if the Falcons don't fire Raheem Morris after they lose, or if they were to go on and lose, then it's no point of even losing this game and hoping that they lose. Like, I mean, I just want change and I want something to be different for next year at this point, because let's keep it a buck, man. Our season is over with. Our season's over with. And I'm not trying to be like a Daryl the Downer when it comes to, football in my team. But I'm not going to sit here and feed you some stuff that's not going to cash in later on. Like, I'm just not going to do that. The coaching staff with the Atlanta Falcons has ruined a team full of extremely talented individuals. And this is particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Like, they have more than enough talent to thrive, but the coaching inconsistencies has killed them, whether it's time management, clock management, calling the plays, when calling the plays, using the same plays over and over, the creativity on the offensive side of the ball. Like, they've ruined this loaded offensive team. Like, they've ruined it. This offensive talent. So, a fourth straight loss for the Falcons, and I'm not really expecting too much from them. I thought at times they played pretty good in the Colts matchup, but I'm just not really expecting too much from them. This is a team that has just found new ways to lose each time. They've invented new ways to lose every time they step on the field. The Falcons last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, against the Patriots, they just found new ways to create history. They were the first team to lose a game after having 6 sacks. And then the following week against the Colts, they had 7 sacks. So they broke their own record, became the first team to lose after having 7 sacks and an interception. So, this team is just creating new ways to stink it up. And I kind of hope they lose against the Panthers if it'll result in some sort of change with the coaching staff. Everybody can go besides Jeff Albrecht. Other than that, he's been cool. I'm content with what I've seen from him, but game plan wise, I think it'll be interesting to see what we do here against the Panthers. It wasn't like they they clearly was scoring on us like crazy last time we played them, but I don't think it's like a true mismatch like the score reflected in that first game. Like, truthfully, our offense or our defense for the Falcons has not been good, and Panthers can exploit that since their run game has been on point lately. But every team that the Falcons have faced in the last 8 weeks have been able to exploit the Falcons' run game, but yet somehow they still kept it close. They still somehow won these games. So I really think the Falcons, if they can figure out the offensive side of things, then they can win this ball game. But if not, then they're going to end up losing, because defense has never really been a problem so far throughout this season. And maybe a couple weeks that you can pinpoint, but ultimately the defense has been what's giving us wins and ultimately what's keeping us in the game. So I don't really see the defense hindering us in this much or in this matchup here, but ultimately it's going to resort to the Falcons offense. If we can get something going with the Falcons offense, then they'll be all right. But if not, then you can just count it over with, and it's a wrap. Let's go ahead and get rid of Raheem Morris. Let's call it a day, man, and figure out what the hell we're going to do, what we're going to do for the future, because this is just not it, man. Losing every week and, just staying in, doing the same thing, losing by the same way. Like, it don't make no damn sense at all. And I'm on the side of, like, it's different if the offense is really looking different. Like, it's different if we don't have if we are missing talent, but the offense, I know early on I said they were extremely talented. Yes, they have some talented individuals on there, but the coaching staff is making it look 10 times worse than what they actually are. With Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Tyler Algier, Kyle Pitts, that's more than enough to at least have a decent offense. I know the Falcons are still shorthanded at wide receiver, and we can still use some help on the offensive line, but ultimately we have enough to cook up on the offensive end, getting some good play calls and being able to use the clock management to our advantage, which we haven't been able to do all season. So a lot of this is on the coaching staff of why the offense cannot thrive, because the pieces they have there, you give those pieces to a lot of other teams in the NFL, I guarantee you they make it work. They make it work. And the Falcons ain't been able to do that on the offensive end. So this Panthers game is going to determine a lot on if the offense can actually make something happen or not. But I really, really hope. And we got a message here too on the screen said Raheem Morris fire. I hope this is the Raheem Morris firing game. It's been in the past, Panthers have just done it to us. I don't know why, I don't know how, but the Panthers have done it to us to call the head coach quits. So I'm hoping, and maybe some Panthers fans might like this too, because it would give them a win, and they could use a win much more than we can at this point. At this point, it's a wrap, man. A lot of our guys are checked out. You look at Drake London in a presser, he looks checked out. You look at Michael Penix in a presser, he looks checked out. Like, a lot of our guys look checked out, so we just need something to happen. And Raheem might have lost. He might have the defense on his side, but definitely that offense is gone, man. Zach Robinson done lost that offense a minute ago. So I'm hoping this is the game that gets Raheem Morris fired, man. And it ain't nothing against him personally. Hope I'm sure he'll land on his feet because he's a great defensive coordinator. But as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, nah, man, I'm sorry. I don't want you there anymore. It's time for change. We got to look somewhere else and make something happen. Same for Zach Robinson. I ain't got nothing against these dudes personally, but just calling football plays and winning football games, I just don't. It's just not giving enough of what we could actually utilize in Atlanta right now. And this is kind of a win now team that's on the uprise. So we're not playing like that. Nothing is reflecting that, so we got to let it go. It's time to let it go. Other than that, look, man, don't go anywhere. We got some more stuff coming up. We got some news for the run in just a second. Also, I'm going to preview that Philadelphia Eagles and Detroit Lions matchup. That's going to be a crazy game. I'm excited to break down some things from there. A lot of division games. So let's touch on it in just a sec. We got some news for the run, some coaching changes and all. So we'll see what happens from there. And don't go anywhere. It's halftime. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I appreciate you for tuning in. Hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And, of course, we will play your take back on our voicemail line next episode. Some news for the run here. Let's start off with some of the coaching changes because we got some guys in a hot seat. This might be the last week of football for a lot of them. And some guys have already played their last week of football as a head coach in the NFL. So Brian Daboll, he was fired from the New York Giants this past week. Giants, they decided to go another route. He kind of had a rough break, found a new quarterback in Jackson Dart, but Jackson Dart went down. I mean, he's also lost many neighbors. He's lost a lot of guys for this season with the New York Giants. So whoever takes this role as the New York Giants head coach, they're coming into a loaded team. They're coming into a team with a lot of talented rookies and definitely something to build from. So this New York Giants head coaching position is going to be a very desirable position for whoever end up falling and end up landing there. But I will say, with this being a desirable position filled with lots of young talent, I'm sure it'll also come with a very short leash of how soon you can turn this Giants team around. And that is definitely necessary because, I mean, this team, they got some good young guys. So we'll see what happens right now. As of now, just a couple prospects, but nothing that's like true or even true enough to be considered a rumor. However, Kevin Stefanski with the Cleveland Browns, he's in a hot seat right now. The Browns are 2-7, and it's just not been looking good for them. Still having some quarterback issues. They refuse to start Shedeur Sanders for some reason. I predicted that they would start Shedeur Sanders by week 7, but for some reason, they're rolling into week 11, and they still are staying with Dylan Gabriel, who hasn't really been the best quarterback, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But ultimately, the thing I'm kind of confident in is that it plays out with Kevin Stefanski getting fired. Definitely by the end of the season. Other than that, we have another coach in a hot seat. Mike McDaniels is in the hot seat with the Miami Dolphins. Now, Dolphins, they did get a win over their division rival in the Buffalo Bills, so they moved to 3-7, but ultimately it's just been a lot of bad conversations surrounding Mike McDaniels of being the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Yes, there's some injuries on that roster with some key players, but I don't think he'll last very long with the Miami Dolphins just because the play hasn't been up to par. It's been very sloppy on the offensive end at a lot of times. They've been very inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from the Dolphins team, even though they have a lot of talent. So it's tough to see there. So Mike McDaniels is in that hot seat. Just to keep you guys updated on the Miami Dolphins. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin is also kind of in a hot seat with a lot of fans and just fans around the NFL, because Mike Tomlin, I don't know if you know, but he has this thing of just being right above 500, and that's it. Calling it quits as soon as he get above 500. Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season in ever, I don't think. But that's his specialty. Is he doesn't have a losing season, but he'll get you right above 500 and lose that wild card game. So he's definitely like not as steep. The seat is not as hot for Mike Tomlin, but definitely warming up, because I tell you what, if the Steelers go to the playoffs and lose in the first round, he's out of there at this point, and I think it's called for. Another team, Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders. They're 3-7 right now. Dan Quinn has been going through it. Lost his quarterback. Lost a lot of receiving options. I mean, he started calling the defense, and I just remember when Dan Quinn was in Atlanta, and he started doing it, they also let him go. So it seems like another sequence of they're trying to figure some things out. I think it's still very early for the Commanders, especially since they came off a huge year last year under success with Dan Quinn. So I don't think his seat is very warm, but it's definitely heating up, if anything. And then Falcons head coach Raheem Morris, man, he might have played his last week. Now, Falcons have a history of firing some coaches after losing to the Panthers. Now, Falcons already lost to the Panthers earlier this year. This could be another time where Raheem Morris has been having a lot of those conversations of not being able to keep the locker room and just not being able to find a way after just promising us, we got to find a way. But he just ain't been able to find one for the offense specifically. But we'll see what happens there. Now, some of the games that's happening in the NFL for Week 11. Thursday Night Football, we got the Jets and the Patriots. This is recorded Thursday night. You might be listening to it Friday morning, but hey, go check and see who those winners is. I think it's going to be the Patriots, so you probably don't even need to check. You would hear about it. Trust me, you're going to hear about it a lot if it's the New York Jets that somehow pull this game off. Other than that, you got the Panthers playing the Falcons. A lot of division games going on for the NFL this week, and I'm super excited about it. But Falcons, Panthers, man, honestly, I'm kind of cheering for the Panthers if it results in Raheem Morris being fired by the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know for sure it will, but I just have a strong feeling that this could be his last week if they lose to the Panthers. So I'm going for the Carolina Panthers to win against the Atlanta Falcons. I know it sounds crazy, but I just really want Raheem Morris to get fired, man, and just start a new era in Atlanta, because he clearly is not the guy. Zach Robinson for the offense is clearly not the guy with the Atlanta Falcons. Please, let's just wrap it up. So Panthers, just do me one solid. I'm going to cheer for y'all. I hope y'all get to the playoffs, whatever. But as a Falcons fan, do me one solid. Beat the Falcons in Week 11 and get Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, fired. Get our head coach and OC out of there. Please, just do us this one solid. I'm cheering for you. I hope you go to the playoffs. Have your success. Whatever. Cool. But I can't stand to see Raheem Morris coach this team anymore. I'm gonna leave it at that. Other than that, I have another division game here, which is gonna be a good one. The Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Man, I'm excited to watch this division game, but ultimately, I got the Chicago Bears winning this ball game, bro. Chicago Bears have low-key been balling. They've been hooping, man. Bears are low-key a sleeper team. They're not really like blowing teams away by their play, but they've been pulling off a lot of games that they lost by 3 and 2 points over these past few years. They finally learned how to close out a game, and then not to mention the offense has been dominant, bro. Second in rushing yards per game, third in yards per game, top 10 in points, and top 10 in passing. Like, you got to give them credit for what they've been doing, and you got to give Ben Johnson his credit for establishing a whole entire new culture with the Chicago Bears. So I think the Bears, they finally found a way to close out games. And I know Vikings, they have somewhat of a solid defense there, but I ultimately just don't trust that trash offense, bro. Justin Jefferson has been extremely quiet. They've just shown that they don't really have it down pack on the offensive side of the ball. And I trust the Bears offense to find ways to score more than I trust the Vikings, even though the Vikings have a great defense. I got the Bears winning this ball game, even though it's also in Minnesota. So bear down for y'all Chicago Bears fans. Other than that, another division game that I am interested in here is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Should be a great matchup. Now, we've seen the Bengals, man, with Joe Flacco, it's been crazy the type of games he's been putting up. So anything can happen here. They already played each other once, and the Bengals, I believe they ended up winning that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it went down to the wire, and it was a wild game. Steelers definitely need to win. And this is why I say Mike Tomlin could be in that hot seat because, I mean, you just never really know. But I'm definitely going to keep eyes on that game. Another one, Chargers and Jaguars. This should be a great division game as well. I got the Chargers definitely winning this division game, man. Chargers have been balling so far. And actually, I think I'm wrong. This is not a division game. Jaguars are not in the same division as the Chargers, but Chargers are definitely going to win this game because they have been balling. I want to give them a lot of credit for the things they've been doing. And then we have some more games too. But before I move on to some of these games, I just want to bring up the point, like, anything can really happen in these division games, bro. Like, you never really know who's going to win in the division games, and I think that's what makes them so great. But the Rams and the Seahawks, this is going to be a game to watch. I will for sure be watching this game between the Rams and the Seahawks. Seahawks have been balling 7-2, 4-0 on the road. And the Rams have also been balling so far, 7-2. Matthew Stafford has been playing at an MVP level so far. But ultimately, I got the Rams losing this game at home. I know it's crazy, but the Seahawks, man, they've just been solid so far in a lot of different ways. And it can clearly go any type of way. I don't know, though. I could be wrong here. It's just going to be interesting to see, though. But this is a must-watch game. It's hard to pick a winner. I definitely didn't do enough research to truly dive into who will win this game between the Rams and the Seahawks. And that's on me, but I want to be as clear and honest about that as possible. 49ers and the Cardinals. I got the 49ers winning that game, even though it is in Arizona. Shout out Arizona. We just came back. But the Ravens and the Cleveland Browns, another division game. Got the Ravens winning this ball game. Now, Lamar Jackson is back, and hey, this is the playoff push right here. They're 4-5, and they're trying to get to the playoffs. So it's kind of a must-win for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. You got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. Man, great matchup here. Broncos have been rolling 5-0 at home, so I'm going with the Broncos to win this ball game. They're 8-2 overall. And the Chiefs, they finally got into a groove, got some healthy guys back, and they've been balling. So I'm not going to say it's just going to be a landslide victory from the Denver Broncos, but ultimately, I think the Broncos got it, man. This defense is lethal with the Denver Broncos. First in sacks, they're first in yards per game, and they've just been rolling on both sides of the ball. So any fault that the offense has, the defense just makes up for it, man. So I got the Chiefs losing this game to the Denver Broncos while the Broncos are at home. And then Monday Night Football, you got the Cowboys and the Raiders. Should be a pretty decent game, but I got the Cowboys winning. But who knows? Who knows with how bad that Cowboys offense or that Cowboys defense has been lately. So, well, I guess we'll find out very soon. Now, another game here that I am very interested in is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Man, I'm excited about this matchup here, but I got to break it to you, man. I think the Lions win this matchup against the Eagles. So I know the Eagles, they're the Super Bowl champs, defending champs. They got the record. They look good, all of these different things. 7-2, first in the NFC. They're a dominant team. They find ways to win, and I have nothing really bad to say about the Eagles. I just don't think they'll beat the Detroit Lions, man. Eagles have been up and down so far this season with consistency, and a lot of times they're just winning because they have an elite group of individuals. So they're finding ways to close these games, and it's on the players more than it is with the coaching, especially on the offensive side of the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, here's where it comes down to why I say the Lions will win, because the Eagles aren't scrubs, not even near scrubs, but I just don't trust the Eagles to make enough happen offensively to beat the Detroit Lions. Lions, statistically and through the eye test, they play better than the Philadelphia Eagles. They're second in passing efficiency, second in points per game. They have an explosive offense. They got Dan Campbell calling plays again, so this offense looked even better last week, and I think they'll continue to evolve. And defensively, yes, they're missing some guys, but they're generating the 5th highest pressure rate in the NFL, although they have guys injured. And they have the lowest missed tackle rate of 8% in the NFL right now. So I'm really siding with the Lions to win this. And yes, I think it's an even matchup, but the more consistent team is the Detroit Lions here. And it's like, I see what the Eagles can do on a weekly basis. I see what the Lions can do on a weekly basis. And I just don't think the Eagles will be able to continue to score with the Detroit Lions the way I see that Lions team score. Even when the Lions team is struggling, they still put up a good amount of points. This is a team they're top in the NFC, and this is an evenly matched game, but I look at it this way. When in doubt, you go with your bread and butter, right? You can always count on your bread and butter. That's what it is. Like if you're starving, you get your bread and butter. In an NFL game, you go to your bread and butter. You're playing any sport, no matter what it is, you got to go to your bread and butter in order to win at some point in the game. With the Lions' bread and butter, it's the ground game. With the Eagles' bread and butter, they don't really have one. They haven't been able to keep that thing flowing like they were able to depend on last year. They could depend on the run game last year and open up opportunities in the air. The Eagles haven't really been able to do that this season like they were in previous years. Whereas the Lions, yes, they might struggle early on in the first half, but ultimately they always get the ground game going. And if we are going to just only rely on passing, I hate to say it this way, I trust the Lions passing offense more than I trust the Eagles passing offense, just because the way the offenses are orchestrated, the Lions by far have an advantage. Eagles, they've been struggling all season on all aspects of the offense. So I got to go with the more free-flowing offense here, which is the Detroit Lions. And I know Eagles have a good defense. They got a good pass defense. I don't want to discredit them for anything here, but when in doubt, you got to go to your bread and butter, and the Eagles' bread and butter has not been there. The Lions' bread and butter has been there throughout the course of the season, and I'll put it this way. Well, sometimes when you look at these matchups of two elite teams going against each other, it's not even about what team can do what and if this team can do this better. A lot of times when you have two evenly matched teams like this, Eagles and the Lions, a lot of times it's just relied on, can you keep that offense on the sideline? Like how well can you control the clock in order to win this game? Both these teams, Eagles and the Lions, both control the clock very, very well. But ultimately, how do you control the clock if you're in the NFL? You got to run the ball to control the clock. Lions do a damn good job at running the ball more than the Eagles. Saquon Barkley has only had maybe 1 or 2 good games so far this season where the ground game has actually opened up. So I don't trust the Eagles to even win in that aspect. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. It is very much possible, but going through the statistic part of it where Lions are number 2 ranked in passing efficiency, second in points per game. They have the explosive offense. Defensively, they're 5th in highest pressure rate. They have the lowest missed tackle rate of 8% in the NFL. You look at Dan Campbell calling the plays. You look at them having a solid bread and butter, being able to run the ball. Eagles do not have that bread and butter. And then you look at the aspect of who can control the clock if it comes down to that by running the ball. The Lions also have that advantage. So it only makes sense for me to go with the Detroit Lions. And this isn't a knock on the Eagles saying they can't get it done. Anything can happen. And they've been finding ways to get it done throughout the course of the season. But, man, I'm going with the Lions to win this game just because I really feel like the Lions got it. And they've been rolling, man. They've been rolling. So my pick here is with the Detroit Lions to win this game, man, and it's going to be a good one, though. I'm expecting a duel between these two teams, and hell, maybe even a defensive game. It might even turn into a defensive game because the Eagles are no chumps defensively, and the Lions are no chumps defensively. So it very much might turn into a defensive game between these two. But ultimately, man, I'm excited to watch that game. That is a game I will have my eyes on for sure. It's a primetime slot game too on Sunday. So excited about that. Lions and Eagles, man, I'm excited. Falcons, Panthers. Oh man, I don't even know why I just transitioned to that. But no, definitely Lions, Eagles. Looking forward to that. And that's Seahawks and Rams. Those are two games I'm for sure tuning into. Broncos, Chiefs. It's a lot of good games. It's a lot of good games. This might be one of those weekends where I'm trying to 3-screen it. I got the iPad, I got the laptop, I got the TV, and I got the phone. Like, this might be one of those weekends where I got those games going on because Broncos, Chiefs, that's a different time frame, but that's also the same time frame as the Seahawks and Rams. So we'll see. But the Lions and Eagles is a primetime game. So we good there. All right, other than that, man, look, that's all I got for y'all. So I genuinely appreciate you been tuning in. You tapped in on a pod version. You tapped in on YouTube, on a live stream, or wherever you might listen. I really do appreciate it. Send it to a cousin, a brother, an aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, coworker, friend, family member. I promise you they won't mind. Let them know they can listen to the Run with Manny Wilson podcast anywhere they get their podcasts on all platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Apple Prime. I know Prime has a thing now where you can listen to podcasts. So you can listen to it any and everywhere. I promise you they not gonna mind if you send it to them. Worst case, they just won't listen, and who cares, bro? It is what it is. Other than that, that's all I got. Positive note, I'm gonna leave y'all with it. The positive note is just gonna be continue to push forward. I'm gonna just keep it point blank, simple. Just continue to push forward, man. We all freaking tired, dog. We all know the economy's bad. We all struggling financially. We all going through it. I ain't gonna speak for everybody when I say struggling financially, but I don't even want to put that on some of y'all who probably thriving right now. But look, we all struggling. So just know whatever you going through, you ain't alone, man. So continue to push forward. We all stepping up every day, waking up every day. And then I saw a quote. Ooh, this is damn, I gotta find it. I'm gonna wrap up in just a sec. There's one last quote. I just gotta say it because this is dope. And I don't know if you're still listening or not, but this was dope. I gotta find this. So y'all just gotta hang on. You gotta wait until I pull up this quote of what I found, man, because it might change somebody's life. You feel me? It might change somebody's life. All right, let's see what we got. Here it is. I found it. So the quote is just positive. This is the, all right, you get two for one special today. 2 for 1 special positive note. And then I'm really gone. I'm done, I swear. Positive note for today. Every morning you got two choices. You can either continue to sleep with your dreams or you can wake up and chase them. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's the positive note for today. Take that however you want to receive it. Other than that, that's all I got, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm up out of here. I'll be back later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.